All right. We are live, guys.
Hello. I have a story. It's not a fun story, but it's a story I have to tell you.
Ooh,
I
okay.
tried to do all of the Coffees for Closers monologue from Glengarry Glen Ross yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't get far.
how far
Also,
did
I
how
found
far
out
did
that
you
a
get?
room full of people that I assumed I got to the I drove here in an $80,000 Porsche. Um I assumed more people would understand my references. What sales? We were talking about making cold calls, and someone goes over to grab a cup of coffee. We put the fucking coffee down. No one got it.
Okay, so where that's from, because I'm not really familiar with it, to be perfectly honest, was it something like more of like an American thing, or is that
I don't know
where
how.
that's from?
I don't know
Have
the
been
reach.
available in the UK?
I don't know the reach of Glengarry Glen Ross. It was an Alec Baldwin movie with
It's a
someone
David
else in
Mamet
it.
play.
Yeah, I mean it.
Somebody else? Okay, let's go through the cast of Glengarry Glen Ross here.
No, I want to talk about the other person. We can't talk about. We can't say his name.
Oh, I wasn't even going to talk about him.
Oh, okay, good. Then keep going.
Al Pacino, Jack
Yeah,
Lemmon, Ed Harris.
Ed Harris. Yeah, he
Let's
was at
talk.
the desk.
Let's talk about the cast on Broadway right now. Bob Odenkirk, Kieran Culkin,
What?
Michael McKean, Bill
I
Burr.
didn't know it was on Broadway right now.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Broadway is for
I
closers.
just
Uh,
I just saw Kieran Culkin things, and that makes me very happy.
um, I've never seen Glengarry Glen Ross. I just know that monologue.
Have you not?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's on the list now, especially
Yeah.
because Ryan, have you seen Glen Ross?
Like I said, I've never seen where that line is from. I just know it's referenced occasionally online.
Oh,
And
sure.
so that's why, like, when you said that they didn't get it, because I always thought maybe
Yeah.
I didn't get it or didn't see it because it was like a British thing or something. But
Wow.
if they didn't get it, it's clearly not a British thing. So that if it's a U.S. thing, then if I hardly know about it, then maybe, possibly, there's the thing that maybe it wasn't available in the UK.
What I'm getting is Ryan only knows a reference from Boss Baby.
And I wish I didn't know what reference from Boss Baby is.
Yeah. Well, on that note,
Good.
everybody.
I honestly forgot that it was from Boss Baby. I forgot.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
And today we're going to be talking about the 2025 film Companion. I think this is the first film we're doing from this year.
Wow, go
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Before we do that, we'd like to catch up a little bit. It's been a few weeks. How you guys doing?
Aside from references that nobody gets, they did catch a Cool Hand Luke reference, by the way. My coworkers, they understood Cool Hand Luke. Good. I ate
Nice.
2 eggs at dinner, and that was apparently Cool Hand Luke reference material.
All right.
Good.
That's all I got.
Ryan, how
How've
are
you been?
you? I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Just
It's-
okay, guys.
I'm
Guys.
tired.
It's
Aw.
I'm almost on summer vacation mode. Like I've got 2 more weeks and then summer.
You're dressed for it, man. Is it hot
I am.
there?
It's wet and rainy.
Gross.
So, but yeah, if you're new here, each week on You Have to Watch This podcast, we make each other watch movies one of us has never seen before. But before we get into today's topic, which is Companion, we like to talk about things we've watched in pop culture over the last week, and a segment we call "We Watch This." And we're going to start off this week with something that just dropped on the internet today. The new trailer for James Gunn's Superman dropped today, and I think all of us watched it. Ryan, did you get a chance to watch the trailer?
Yes, I did.
All right. What are our thoughts on the new trailer for Superman?
This is going to sound so lame. It seems very James Gunn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there were a couple of shots and I'm like, this would have looked great in a Guardians movie. But overall, I'm really excited for it and genuinely want to see this in the theater.
Ryan, what did you think?
It looks good for a Superman movie.
Okay, well, Alan, with the
Yes.
Superman Returns poster literally
Yes.
sitting behind you,
Yes.
what did you think?
I'm excited. I'm glad we got to see more of Rachel Bronison's Lois Lane. I'm really excited to see her in that role. I liked David Cornsweet's switch between Clark Kent and Superman and just the voice in that scene. It's very subtle, but if you listen, it's there. But what got me going through this trailer is the music. Like the fact that they're still using the John Williams motif in that theme is what has me super excited for this movie. Pun intended.
I was gonna say that was on purpose, right?
It does have James Gunn's style, but compared to other Superman movies, including Superman Returns, this is bright and colorful, and that's what Superman should be. It shouldn't be dark and brooding and unsaturated. It needs to be bright and red and blues. And the moment where he's like talking to whoever he's fighting, he's like, "Hey, up here," and like shoots up into the sky and makes the monster follow him. And I was like, yes, that's what I want from a Superman movie. Like, I'm excited for the action. I'm excited to see this.
I think the thing that drew me in the most was the interview scene that they choose to show in the trailer.
Yeah.
I think that I've really been on a kick lately because I've been encountering a lot of people that read a lot of only nonfiction, and the people kind of fail to see the value of fiction. And this movie is kind of doing the thing that I like that fiction and superheroes do, is it's reflecting reality. That interview talking about people acting outside of government jurisdiction is stuff that's topical and relevant. And I like that. And that's an interesting thing to the Superman mythos that I've never seen before.
I mean, you had a little bit of that in Batman v Superman.
Just a little, though.
But it wasn't Lois and Clark. It was Superman versus Congress. It wasn't really an intimate moment between those two characters. And I think it meets that middle ground of real world things going on and the character dynamics that you had, like the real world stuff that you had in Batman v Superman and the character dynamics that you had in Superman the movie. I think it's a good mix of the two there. And I really bought the chemistry between them talking over each other in that scene, which I thought was an interesting choice for the trailer, to have them like talking over each other.
I think I liked it because it reminded me of Sorkin a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorkin does that a lot, and I love Sorkin's dialogue.
Yeah.
Ryan, did you get excited about anything in the trailer? I'm really curious.
I mean, it looks promising. I personally hope, because there has been so many Superman movies, that I really want the movie to open up with the interview. Like, I want the movie to open up with, you know who Superman is, you know who Lois Lane is, you know this relationship, and maybe it's like 10 minutes into the movie that interview happens because they're on like a date night and they establish that Lois Lane knows that he's Superman. He's pretending, it's like in public to be, not be Superman. And it's just, the movie opens up with that argument and then things just go from there.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's how this, I'm hoping this is how it happens.
From what I've heard, yes, that is the case. Like it's not an origin story. Like he's been Superman for a while. They're in a relationship. She knows his secret. So,
I mean, because in this movie, I don't want to go from like Smallville discovering baby Clark Kent all the way to Hot Girl and Nathan Fillion as the Green Lantern. Like, I don't want to go that far.
She's the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Devin. Show some respect.
She certainly is.
Yeah. July's gonna be packed, and
What
I
else
already
is in
know.
July?
Jurassic World.
Oh shoot.
With ScarJo and the guy from Wicked. And
right.
Fantastic Four.
I might have to get my movie pass back again.
it's it's the economic.
It is.
It's a good choice.
It is.
Yeah. All right. So that trailer's out. I really thought we were going to get a new trailer for this in front of Thunderbolts, but we did not. But I did see Thunderbolts when it opened. I saw it opening night, actually. Have you guys seen Thunderbolts yet?
No. Have you, Ryan?
No.
Okay.
No. Is it still called Thunder?
Well,
Yeah, didn't they change the name?
That's what I wanted to talk to you
Yeah.
guys about. Has the internet spoiled it for you? Because
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
At this point, I don't. At this point, with how I feel, I don't really consider anything I hear about Marvel movies to be spoilers for me.
I will say this.
Point.
This is one of the better Marvel movies since Endgame.
That's what I've heard.
That A24 trailer that I told you guys about, fairly accurate. Like, this is a very strong movie, very good character development, lots of fun action, and then the reveal of what the asterisk is for. Yeah.
How was that for you, Alan? Like, because you found out what the asterisk meant in theaters, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah.
I kind of knew going into it what it was going to be. Like, if they're changing the title of the movie, which I assume they were doing, it's going to be this. And it was. And it's like, okay, like, makes sense. I wasn't really surprised.
Can I ask a question then?
Yes.
About that? Are
Yes.
they just the... Because I thought Sam Wilson was putting together the Avengers.
Yes.
Are they just like, nope, it's these guys now, and just like,
Do you want me to spoil the post-credit scene for you?
yes.
Okay. So spoilers for the end of Thunderbolts or the New Avengers, because that's what they call the movie. I don't think there's a title card that says Thunderbolts. It just says the New Avengers at the end.
That's so funny.
It time jumps 14 months. And you see the New Avengers in the Avengers Tower, and they're talking about why people don't like them. Like, the internet's debating who's the real Avengers, us or Sam. Like, and Bucky says, "I tried talking to him, he won't budge." Like, he even he filed a copyright for Avengers. So, like, if you look at the Avengers accounts on, like, Instagram now, like, they all have, like, the copyright C there now because their marketing is playing into it at that level.
That's very silly. I really enjoy that.
Yeah. Yeah, even, like, I'm watching the movie, and even the post-credit scene got spoiled for me because I read the credits a little bit, and I saw something listed in the music. I was like, oh... So that's what's going to happen now? Okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But
Okay, well, don't tell me that bit. I want
I
to
won't.
know.
I won't.
Okay, good. Because I heard there are two, right? 2 post credits?
there are 2, yes. The last one is the longer one.
I have to watch this.
But yeah, the new Avengers, if you want to hear all my thoughts on this, stay tuned to Victims and Villains this weekend, where my review with my co-host over on Brilliant But Lazy will be dropping. I just have to edit it and send it over. But yeah, we recorded that last week, and it's a good one. Josh and I have a long conversation about the whole movie. So yeah.
Cool.
Speaking of Disney properties, Andor season 2 is out. I am not caught up on this, so let's try to avoid spoilers. Ryan, you've been watching this.
Yes.
What are your
where
thoughts?
Where are you? Which episode?
I'm still in season 1. I haven't watched any of it yet.
Oh.
Because
okay.
My girlfriend and I have been she's never seen season 1, so we've been watching through that. We're on the finale, so we're almost there. But I feel like this is going to become summer watching for us.
Nice.
Yeah. So there is. So I'm satisfied with it so far.
Okay.
It is. I just watched the third to last, like episode 10, before getting on here because they're dropping them 3 episodes at a time. I didn't even realize that until like the second weekend that's what that's how they were doing this. What I wanted out of season 2, I'm getting. and more. I love it so far. This has been probably the best Star Wars storyline they've done uh, for me personally in years.
Okay.
I really don't think this is a spoiler, so I'm just going to say it. Occasionally, the show will go 1 year later, BBY number.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll go a few episodes, and then it says and 1 year later, and then a few episodes, and 1 year later. Like it keeps on jumping.
Oh yeah.
A year occasionally, and so then the characters are like somewhere completely new. Like okay, and then and then that episode is like maybe 30 minutes of catch up.
Yeah.
Of like how they've gotten to where they are. So I'm like, there's a part of me that's like, I really wish that they could have just dropped the CGI budget for the effects, made 2 more seasons, and play out everything instead of just being like skip. There's a part of me that thinks that. I'm not saying that that's what they should have done.
I think that was the original plan, but
oh wow,
COVID and things getting more expensive.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they had to recast, I'll just say it, they recast Bail Organa. Like Jimmy Smith just wasn't available, and they couldn't get him, but they needed him for the story, so they brought in Benjamin Pratt.
Oh. Okay, yeah. So I did notice that. I did notice that recasting, but I legit thought to myself, maybe the guy's sick, maybe he retired, maybe he's acting anymore. I didn't even see it as like like anything negative, and I like that guy. Yeah. I like most of the stuff that he's in. So I'm like, okay, this is fine. Like, for this era, for that character, having an actor like that to me gives off a little bit more of a little bit more of a tougher vibe.
Yeah.
Fits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the time jumps is just because they have a certain point where they're building to. Because we know what happens to Andor after this, and they're building to that point. Because we all know how the story ends. And
is this the last season?
Oh yeah, this season goes.
No,
this season goes into Rogue One.
Didn't know that. Okay, cool. Yeah. That makes me a lot happier about this season, I think.
Yeah. So moving on to something that has an absolutely happy ending for all the characters in it, including the main actor. Let's talk about The Last of Us. I have only seen the very first episode of this.
Okay.
But I have high hopes. How's season 2?
Yes. It is gut-wrenching. And it is soul-crushing. In the best way.
I love it. Oh, Ryan, that makes me so happy.
It absolutely tortures you. And the best part of what they do in this is, like, I've never played the games because they are, like, a Sony exclusive. I've only ever owned Xboxes past the Xbox 360, so I've never played these games. But I can tell from playing games like that this season particularly, it seriously feels like they took a video game and was like, okay, let's take all of the story portions of what happens during the game, fill in the action sequences, and don't pull back from anything that they would have shown in the game. So, like, there's scenes that they show, like, just to drive how, like, dangerous the situation is that they're in, where usually in any type of, like, media property that's not gaming, they will do a thing where they, like, won't show what the actors are looking at. They'll just go off of what their, like, reactions are and then let you go to your worst place in your head as to what it looks like. They show you. And it's horrible. Wow. Like, the things that they come across, the things that they have to deal with. I feel like there is for me personally, there is a casting issue. It is no one's fault but the casting director. The actress that is playing the character that I have the issue with is doing a fine job. She's doing everything that she needs to for the character. It's not a problem. It is just she does not come off as intimidating as they want her to be, and I'm just having to roll with that. So that's my only complaint about this season.
It's Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara is
The mom from
My
Home Alone.
trying to.
face.
No, what? No.
My babies.
Sorry. No. Actually, her character's actually fun. Like her
Good.
character's actually is tragic but fun.
I would be surprised if she wasn't
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you who she plays. It's really nothing about what's going on with
Yeah.
past
I know-
season 3. Past season 2, episode 2. I mean, episode 3. She's really not in it that
Yeah.
much. So
Why?
like,
What happens in
I
episode
can tell
2
you
that
who
she's
she
not in
is.
it? I know who she
I don't want
is.
to talk about it.
No, it's just her character just doesn't show up as often.
Yeah,
Like
I
she's
know.
not like she's yeah.
Joel doesn't need that much therapy after episode 2, right? Like he's healed himself and
solved.
She's an
He's solved,
alcoholic
yeah.
therapist. Like
I love it.
she's
Nice.
an alcoholic therapist, and Joel calls her out on it, and she was like, "Look, by how things are supposed to go, I need to see someone because I'm talking to people like you, but I don't have anyone that I can talk to, so I drink." Like that's what she's.
Yeah.
That's solid. Herbert Linger's Virgin Wine. That's
Yeah,
what
pretty
she's
much.
drinking.
So before we
There's
talk
Becky.
about the film companion, let's talk about some other companions with the new season of Doctor Who.
How far are you?
I'm caught up on the new season.
I'm not caught up.
Okay, how far are you?
I just watched the cartoons.
Okay, with Alan Cummings.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's so good. I love this doctor. I love it.
he's fantastic. He's actually
so good.
one of my complaints about season 1 with this doctor was that he didn't get a chance to be the doctor. He wasn't in the show
Yeah.
that much. It was really the Ruby Sunday show. And this season, they're really letting him be the doctor. Ruby's back on Earth, and he has a new companion who he's trying to get back to Earth, but they can't. So there's like this whole subplot of them trying to get back. It's very Quantum Leap-y. But I'm really enjoying the season so far.
Yeah. Is it over?
No.
Okay, good. What was your favorite episode?
That's a good question.
Because I heard there was one called like Story and Catch or something.
That one was okay. That's the one that just
Okay.
aired.
Oh, the Story and the Engine.
Yeah, the Story of the Engine was okay. There's one where they revisit a plot line from an old Doctor Who episode, which I enjoyed. But I really liked the cartoon one that they did.
The cartoon one was really good.
Yeah, it's
I-
very meta and very interesting.
I love the meta part. But I think the whole show is kind of meta. You're farther than I am. But like that one lady keeps showing up and keeps looking down the barrel of the camera and talking to us.
Yeah, they
What
do
is she
it.
doing?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where that goes with Miss Flood, whatever her name is.
Yeah, that's right. Ryan, are you catching up? I know you were in Jodie Whittaker for a while. No? Aw.
No, I've got my interests spread out too far to where it's really hard for me to find time for stuff that I'm not kind of like looking forward to and like entrenched in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's fair.
Doctor Who is kind of like fallen off the wayside.
Yeah,
But
that's fine.
I did enjoy everything that I did watch, and I know that if I watched it, I would more than likely like it. Just I haven't gotten around to watching
Okay.
any of the new stuff.
Speaking of interests, I want to tell you guys a funny story. I came home yesterday and started watching TV in my basement, and I found they were doing a Star Trek movie marathon on Paramount Plus. And so I'm watching The Search for Spock. And I forgot that I'm not allowed to watch Star Trek in my basement because my Alexa down here responds to the word computer. So, what spoilers for The Search for Spock? When they go to blow up the Enterprise, like my Alexa was just going off like crazy, turning the lights back on, and like computer self-destruct. Like Scotty was like making the lights turn on. I was like, oh my god, she's gonna blow up the basement.
I'm not quite sure.
I
how to
love
do
it.
that.
Yep, see, there she is. Yeah. All right.
Good solid choice for Alexa.
Yes. Let's jump into today's main topic, the film from earlier this year, Companion. This is Ryan's pick. Ryan, I'm going to let you take it away.
Okay, so I picked Companion that came out earlier this year. This is a big flip for me because usually I have these guys watch movies that are like 25, 30 years old half the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm never one to pick a movie from like the year, from like the current year we are actually in.
Yeah.
But this movie struck me so hard when we first watched this. My wife and I first watched this that I went and I just bought it on Amazon Prime. Like as soon as the movie was over, I went and after we had rented it and just bought it. So I've been a fan of Jack Quaid for a while, since The Boys and Lower Decks. The actress that's in this I've never seen before, except for like parts of interviews on Reels on Instagram. And when my wife told me about it, she literally came into the living room and she said, "I just watched a movie. You're going to like this. Just watch the trailer." So we watched the trailer, and I instantly stopped the trailer and went to rent and rented it again right away. And she didn't even have a chance to ask me what I thought about the trailer. This movie touches on topics that I wrote a college paper about. So I am very much I'm very much like the audience for this movie. I thought almost everything in this movie was done well. I can't really think of a flaw in it, and I might just have rose-colored glasses on at the moment because I'm still on a high from this film. So that's me. That's my history. That's my like initial take from this. So what did you guys think? I'm going to assume you guys heard about this prior because of the way you reacted when I told you what movie I was picking. So
this is one that I saw a teaser trailer for. I was like, oh, that looks interesting. But it was one of the rare times where from the makers of in the trailer got my attention more than the trailer itself. Because they promote this from the creators of Barbarian, which is like, you guys know me. I'm not a big horror guy. I loved Barbarian. And that might have to be one of my picks up here soon. If Devin,
Please,
you look
I
like
want to
you
watch it.
Okay. It was just weird enough. I was like, okay, I like that. I'm excited to see what this is. Try to go in without any prior knowledge, but I was really excited to watch this, and I really enjoyed it.
Good. That makes me happy. Devin.
All I knew is that I think I've seen this poster around, and then I think I've heard someone gesturing towards the poster going, "It's good." And I think that's like the only thing I really knew about it going in. I think that up until the 24-minute mark of it, I was upset that I had even seen the poster, let alone like watched a trailer or watched anything about it. But I loved it. I'm almost with you, Ryan. I don't know that I'm going to talk much about flaws in it. I'm more excited to talk about the things it gets right and the topics that it's discussing. And know that for your benefit, and I've been waiting all week to tell you this, I'm never at any point going to refer to Iris as Iris. She is, from this point on, Lucy Lubat.
Lucy Lubat, oh god. Yeah. I was halfway like I was about halfway on like determining if I was gonna just refer to her as B-Boop throughout the entire movie. But I wasn't entirely sure if that would work with what I'm gonna be talking about this movie. So but we're good. But I mean, we're definitely going to get into that.
So,
okay.
So
you mentioned you didn't know her from anything. She's been in a Star Wars project.
What?
She was one of the bikers in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. So I'm happy that she has a foot in the Star Wars universe. But that would be like, as
But
far as I'm concerned, like someone saying my dad was in Star Wars, and me going,
yeah,
oh, who, and and bringing up the scene in uh, Return of the Jedi where they're on the moon planet of Endor, and they point to a stormtrooper like halfway back in the crowd, going, "Him."
I think I speak for myself and Devin as two guys who were in The Dark Knight Rises. How dare you?
Yeah, this counts.
But also, like, no one remembers. Like, everyone chooses to forget the slow speed chases on those speeder bikes in Book of Boba
No.
Fett. So, yeah.
Well, those were more like mopeds. Those weren't bikes. Those were just, as far as I'm concerned, those were mopeds. But
Yeah.
anyway, this isn't about Book of Boba Fett, and I don't want to get dragged into that discussion about that scene ever
Okay.
again. Anyway,
Okay.
so, um, before I get into like my main thing, which is I just want to talk about the movie and stuff that you guys want to bring up. One of the things that really stuck out to me about this movie was actually Jack Quaid. I've liked him in almost everything I've seen him in so far, but everything I've seen him in so far has been more lighthearted. It's been kind of a comedy set. He did voice acting on Lower Decks, where he pretty much played a fool. He was on, he did a decent job on The Boys, but just because you nail one character doesn't mean you're a great actor. It just means you were good for that character. He does what, and I forget the name of the movie, and I know this is horrible to bring this up without knowing the name of the movie. Harrison Ford did a movie where he was like a villain, and it was about like his wife is like being haunted by like a woman by the lake, and she confronts Harry.
What Lies Beneath?
What Lies Beneath. Like, Harrison Ford does a great job in What Lies Beneath, and I feel like Jack Quaid kind of plays the same type of like male character in this movie and did a great job, because as far as I'm concerned, this is different than his other roles, and this is just one more piece of him being an actor that is kind of showing that yes, he's had, he's what the whole like the Nepo baby thing, but he's showing that he has the talent to actually do this, and I'm happy for that. And the fact that he actually just admits that that's who he is too, those opportunities he's had. But that really stood out to me, and for her, I would say that she did a better job as her, and even though I like his performance as well as I did, she pulled this movie for me. She did a better job at her job. She did a better job with her performance than he did with his. Given everything I just said about, Jack and everything that he did. What did you guys think of just them?
But before we go any further, I have a pop quiz for Devin. Devin, who are Jack Quaid's parents?
Dennis Quaid
and
Denise Quaid.
No. Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan?
Yep.
Yes.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, is that where he gets the forehead?
Oh.
Okay.
You've got burned, son.
Okay.
So I loved him. I loved them both. I loved Jack Quaid's evolution through the movie, and I love what his evolution shows. Like I love his like, he's kind of like geeky nerdy, and of course he gets a geeky nerdy lonely thing, but then like it's revealed that he's this like controlling jerk and kind of has been the whole time. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I see this. I like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the turn in the
Yeah.
progression of his character, because he does a really good job of playing like the what you expect from a Jack Quaid thing, but then as the movie goes along, he really does dive deeper into the darkness of that role, and I think she does a great job of evolving as well as she learns more about herself. Yeah, I thought it was great performances all around.
Yeah, and that, and I'm I'm really happy to know that it's not just me being super excited about the topic that this movie brings up and the way that it's portrayed. That I'm actually seeing good, that what I'm taking as good performances are actually good performances, and
Yeah.
not just because it touches on, like a certain topic. Um, the How far in the future do you think this thing is set? Because I'm gonna say it's set maybe 10 to 15 years from now, personally.
I took it as 2050.
2050? Okay.
2050. Cell phones still look roughly the same, which I'm assuming they will.
If we're all using the foldable cell phone tablet things in 2050, just I'm going to Mars. Like I just can't. Uh,
What about the car? The car was a little bit futury, right?
yeah,
I mean, that's a real car that you can buy right now. It just doesn't have the self-driving mode thing that they showed in the
Oh,
movie.
didn't know that. Okay,
So,
that's cool.
yeah.
I mean I looked at this like maybe not that far in the future, like,
Okay.
but yeah, more
Okay.
modern than
Yeah, 'cause
anything,
that,
I think. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because at first, well, when I first started watching it, I was like, okay, so this is because they don't give a year. It's just what's around them. And so at first I'm thinking like, okay, this is today. This is happening this weekend. Um, and then the whole thing with the car, and then his phone, and then his friend's phone. I'm thinking maybe 2040, maybe 2030, maybe like 2035 is where I was kind of rough, like estimating this to be. Um, so definitely science fiction. It's labeled science fiction. Definitely comes up on its description. Um, I feel like they did a really good job of it, making it look realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, was there anything you guys wanted to bring up that kind of stood out to you?
there was a moment um when Eli's character shows up. It's like, oh, Guillermo! Like,
I had the same thing. I love
I
Guillermo.
I love seeing him in things. He brings such fun energy to things, and there were some twists with his character that I didn't see coming.
Yes.
But I was like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. Like I enjoyed every like there that caught me off guard. Like I knew about the main twist of the movie going into it, but that one caught me off guard. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like I didn't expect it to be this.
Well, this is the thing that I wanted to bring up. Is doesn't everyone know what the main twist of this movie is going in? Like, because
I would hope so.
'cause I could tell from the poster.
I knew from marketing, but I wasn't entirely sure the whole depth of it. I don't think if you go into this without seeing the trailer, I think it does a good job of making that moment where he says, Iris, go to sleep, a twist.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, Iris, what's the weather out today? And he goes, haha, that never gets old. Like, there's so much in the first 24 minutes that makes you think that his friends are jerks, he doesn't treat her right, and this poor sweet lady is just trying her best to deal with an awkward friend situation. And I knew, because of the poster, I had a very strong feeling what was happening. But they do something, and they do a couple of things in the beginning that made me go, maybe I'm wrong. Like, the meet cute at the supermarket, before they explain that, I go, that doesn't make any sense if that's how they met. And the fact that she was showering at all, I'm like, shouldn't need shower, right?
Yeah.
Like there was enough as it goes on that I'm like, maybe my thought about what this movie is wrong. And it wasn't, but it was still cool.
Yeah, and that's what like I had, because like I asked Kristen, like after watching the trailer, I rented it again, And she started laughing, and I'm like, what? And she was like, you're not gonna like wait for me to ask you if like what you think? And I said, actions speak louder than words. How do you think I feel right now about it? And then I asked her, I was like, just one question. She's a full-blown robot, right? And she was like, yes. And I'm like, okay. So I went into it knowing that she was a full-blown, like, robot person. And I was still having those moments where I'm like,
Yeah.
what's going on here? Because, like, she looks into the mirror and she says, be happy,
Yeah.
smile. Like something that someone who's clinically depressed might do to like help them get through like a hard moment. But then watching this a second time, because I watched it like last night for this, there are so many moments in there too that is completely obvious. Two things I'll bring up. At the very beginning of the movie, when he says, Iris, wake up, her eyes are fully open. That first half a second when the movie starts, before she like jolts herself awake, her eyes are wide open. She's not like closed-eyed sleeping. So there's that. And then two, when they're walking from the car after they park, he's got the like little duffel bag hanging over his shoulder, and there she is double arming both their heavy suitcases, walking up the concrete steps.
I didn't even catch that.
So like they do. So I mean like they
That's
do
fun.
little things that like if someone had something like that, of course that's how they would treat it.
The thing
But,
that
like, at the start.
the thing that I noticed right away is in the meet cute when she's walking through the grocery store, she like high steps when she's walking. Like you've never seen anybody walk like that, but she's like almost marching like she's in the blue band. I noticed that. And I was like, okay, she's definitely a robot.
Yeah.
Because no one walks like that.
Don't forget to take out your trash cans.
It's happening.
Yeah.
So the themes in this movie, you've got one, how humans can basically fall in love with anything that portrays emotion first, and there's other movies that do that. So you got the movie Her. I forget when that came out, but that was really big because that was about this as well.
About 2013, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they show that with Eli's character and his companion. So for anyone who's listening, this is going to be spoilers. So I suggest watching the movie. I really do. So just give you a warning. So they go to this very, very, very remote house, not a cabin house, in the middle of nowhere. And Jack Quaid and his companion go to meet like two of his friend's boyfriend, and another friend, him and his companion. And they mention about halfway through the movie that Jack Quaid character goes, look, I know that you really care for him. Like you could have traded him in twice by now. So, so I know you really care for him. And he completely opens up and tells his companion that he legit loves him. Mm-hmm. And that's when that companion's like, yeah, no, I know I'm a robot, but I love you. And then Eli asks, what does that feel like? And the robot explains it. Granted, it's all programming. They're programmed to say that. They're programmed to act that way. But throughout the movie, through Iris's progression, you see how easy it can go from programming to actual, like, realization of oneself. And then that companion goes through the same thing later in the movie, which, again, is a very depressing scene. There's just so much. There's so much here to unpack. My main thing is AI. And that's what I wrote my college paper on, which was, I mean, cool. Very, 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 very basic 5-page English paper on the dangers of AI. I'm not talking about anything like it wasn't like a master's thesis or something. It was for like a like a 101 English class in college. But it was something that I really care about. It's something that I feel like should be focused on more, especially with everything that's going on now.
Yeah.
So that's my main theme from this movie that I want to talk about. Was there anything that stood out to you guys? Because I know there's other themes in this film.
I thought it was interesting to have a main character who, usually when you see stories like this, like in Her, which I've never seen, but I think is more about like a human seeking companionship through AI because they're lonely. I think it was an interesting take on that storyline to make it a heist film. Because
Yeah.
that's what it boils down to, is like she's only there to pull off this heist. That's the only reason he ever got her, was so they could do this. And get off scot-free. So I like that element to it. It's not like it makes Jack Quaid's character look even worse. Like he's doing this.
Yeah.
He's manipulating her to the extreme to get away with millions of dollars.
Yeah.
My favorite theme that the movie brings up is the exploration of the role of women in relationships at different socioeconomic levels. Because there's that scene, and this scene gets me so much, where it's Kat and Iris sitting down together. The two of them are talking, and Kat's talking about Sergey, she's like the second, she's like, you know, a mistress or whatever. Like they're having an affair, and she goes, Kat, the human in the conversation, goes, I'm just an object to Sergey. I eat what he wants me to eat. I dress how he wants me to dress. I do what he wants me to do. And she's saying that to a literal robot that's made to do that. And then later in the movie, Iris has those same complaints, if not more harsh, about Jack Quaid. You were demanding, you were controlling, you belittled me. And that's so fascinating to me, that like that Kat, this human, could relate in such a deep and personal way to this thing literally made essentially. It was really interesting to see that play out.
And not even relate, but like be mad at her for it. Like she's mad at what she is. Like how similar they are in their situations, even though one's human and one's not.
Yeah.
To the point where she even goes, I think you might replace me, or I'm worried that you'll replace me. And of course the cheeky answer is, but you're Kat, you're iconic. But it's like, you know, it says so much about what she thinks Kat thinks her role in a relationship is, that she thinks she can be replaced by a robot. It's heartbreaking. It really is. And it underpins the whole movie.
And that's one of the other major themes, and that plays throughout the film, because like you said, he says, like, you know, like she pretty much says that, like, you're the reason why, like, it's not you that I hate, it's what you represent. And like at that time, Iris still doesn't know what she is. She doesn't know that she's a robot. Like that's how they're programmed to be. That they're not supposed to know that they are what they are. They're supposed to think that they're human. Like this almost gets into like Blade Runner type stuff. And that scene cements all of the animosity that Kat shows up until that point. And of course because like she opens the door, she doesn't want to talk or have anything to do with Iris, and then when she does, she's just being very like condescending and rude, because she's looking at a robot going, this is what they made, because men don't want to be with a real woman, so this is what I have to deal with now. And that's the reality of what she's looking at. So her anger, her frustration, it makes sense. And then for her to be in the situation that she's in, of course she's going to plan that. Of course she's going to plan out what they did to try to, like, give her, to get herself out of the situation that she's in.
I have something I want to bring up that doesn't have to do with the themes of the movie, but somebody else was
That's
in
fine.
it.
Yeah.
Did you guys recognize any other actors in this? Because there's one face in particular that you should know from the internet.
Is it Lucas Gage?
No.
Oh, I knew him right away.
Okay.
Is it Matt McCarthy?
Yes. Do you know what Matt McCarthy is from?
No idea. He just looks familiar.
I'm gonna say a line, and you're gonna know exactly what he's from. Harvey Dent. Can we trust him? He plays Commissioner Gordon in the Pete Holmes Badman sketches.
I love it.
I
Of course he
follow
does.
him. I follow him on TikTok, and if you haven't had a chance to look at his TikTok, it's fascinating. He collects VHS tapes and like recorded VHS tapes, and like goes through and highlights what's on them, and like shows you the commercial breaks, and then gives commentary. It's fantastic. I also follow him on Letterbox, and he has a review for Companion on Letterbox, which is fantastic. His review is, "So what if I'm in this movie? 5 stars." He's very entertaining, and if I'm going to see any influencers that I follow like in a movie, I'm glad it was him.
Yeah. That's very funny.
Like his review for Sinners was, "Sitting in the front row of IMAX isn't ideal, but it's not as bad as it sounds." Like it's just like fun little reviews. So I highly recommend checking him out on TikTok and all of that. He has a Patreon where you can like watch like the full videos of the VHS tapes that he has too, and yeah, highly recommend checking that out. But yeah, he's been in all those Pete Holmes sketches and College Humor stuff. So
Because he did look so familiar, and I thought, was he the guy from Peacemaker, and he's not.
no, that's Steve Agee.
Yeah, who's also incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, when it comes to him, I love the way that he handles Josh when Josh is like explaining everything.
Yeah.
And it's like he's looking to him for confirmation that his story makes sense. And he's just like, "Yeah, I get it. Look, we're not here to investigate it. We're just here to get the robot back to the shop. That's all." And then
he's just like,
when they get into to talk, he's like, "Oh, he's fucked."
Yeah.
Like that was probably one of the best moments of the movie.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, like that was probably one of the best, like, you know.
That was one of the highlights for
best
me.
timed moments.
Agreed.
I don't have anything else. I think we've covered everything I've got.
Okay. So the reason why I kept on saying that this, like, prior when I said, you know, the movie that I wanted to pick and the topic, I mentioned that it was AI. My issue with advancing AI, the way that we're doing it in real life, and what they do in this movie is what I kind of wrote my paper on. It's a topic that got brought up in one of the sketches of the Animatrix, and when I watched that as a teenager, I just took it and ran with it. And it's a real short scene. During the Animatrix, one of the stories has to do with like a timeline of how the robots took power. It's done in like a classic like mid-90s anime style, and they show and they explain how like the robots went from being like, you know, serving cocktails at parties to doing construction to being used as like, you know, like things of war, and then eventually taking over, and how like the AI advanced itself to where it became its own being, pretty much its own sentient form. That's where this is going to lead. And one of the things that they showed in that is they show a news coverage of a riot, and they mention how like about how the liberals and the robots were protesting for robot rights, and it broken up by a rival faction, pretty much, about, you know, like how this is silly or whatever. And that really kind of stuck with me, because at some point we are going to have to grapple with this, and there needs to be roadblocks on AI so that you don't have companion bots to where they become self-aware and know what they are and then can just live life. Because at some point we're going to have to find out where is the line that makes someone sentient and when it's just a robot. Bicentennial, I'm saying the word wrong.
Bicentennial
Man. Yeah. That deals exactly with this point. This movie does a great job of driving that home, especially with the intelligence. How she gets mad. She's like, "Oh, Josh," because she's at like 40% intelligence. And I loved how they showed how going to 100 and like the screen fades to white and they show her eyes get smaller, like how the intelligence is just activating. But even before that, as far as I'm concerned, she's like, as soon as she becomes self-aware that she's a robot when she's tied in the chair, that's when she becomes a live being. She may not be breathing with a heart, but that's when, as far as I'm concerned, she becomes no different than any other human. And that's where my line is.
I'm with you. I think the movie shows a really interesting version of where AI could potentially go. I think that it has a lot of like the Black Mirror effect about it, where it's very much like, here's a technology that you know and that you're comfortable with. What if this speaker that goes to 10 could go to 11? And I like that because, you know, I just, like, right after this movie, I was scrolling Reddit and I saw a video of a robot dancing, right? Like in a real one. It wasn't like a fake one. It was like one of the Boston Dynamics robots. And I was like, oh, look at us go. Like, we're heading there. And, you know, I'm still a bit of a pessimist when it comes to AI, just because, like, I think that there's not enough information in the world, and eventually AI is going to start feeding itself, and it's just going to get more and more abstracted from what we identify as real human interaction. But who knows? Like, with quantum computing and stuff, it could get there. But, like, in the shape that it is now, I don't think ChatGPT could get us there.
No. And Alan, did you have something to add? I saw you breathe.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. My thing and what I wrote in that short paper that I did is that we have to determine these limits now before we end up getting to that, like, we're going to get to the bridge where we need to figure this out of, like, what's too far in AI when it comes to its own intelligence, and when do we start the debate of what actually makes something sentient that's not, you know, made of like biomatter like us. We need to figure this out before we get to that bridge, because this isn't just going to be a normal bridge. Like, oh, the invention of a car, great. The invention of the cell phone, great. Like the invention of like a quantum computer server, like, great. There are more in-depth ethical questions that need to be answered by us as a species before we get to the point where something we make on that level becomes sentient, because we have a hard enough problem determining if other humans are real and are people.
Yeah.
And so, like, that was the main point of, like, that's the main topic of this, is like, we need to figure this stuff out now before we get to that point.
So working in higher education, AI has been a topic that has just not gone away and won't go away for a while. Because I hear a lot about students relying on AI for assignments, and I think it's great as a tool, but when you rely on it as a crutch, like that's what's going to lead to our downfall. And I think a lot of interesting sci-fi stories have come out of the trope of what is human life. I just recently learned that there's an extended cut of the Star Trek Next Generation episode Measure of a Man where they talk about this. Like, is Data a human? Like, is he a life form or is he just a piece of machinery? Like, I didn't know there's an extended cut of that.
I like that.
But when it comes to AI, as we see it now, one of the things that kind of blew my mind was I read a comment about, like, is AI something that we've created, or is it something that we've tapped into? Like, if you're somebody who believes in a higher power, is the AI just a sentient? I'm trying to think of the term. A being that we've tapped into, like a thought, like we've just accessed a different realm of reality, and AI is coming through these channels there, like that. Like, let's use Siri as an example. Like, Siri is not something we created. Siri was something that was already existed and now is being channeled through an iPhone. Like, is it something we've just tapped into, or is it something that we've created from scratch with ones and zeros?
It's something we tapped into, and his name is Jeff. You've been calling him wrong the whole time.
Yes.
You respect Jeff. No, so on this topic, I gotta ask you guys, like, you have, Alan, you clearly have a smart speaker. I hear it every week and I love it. Ryan, do you have a smart speaker in your house?
No.
Okay.
I do not.
For those of you that have it or have been in houses with them, how do you feel about people that yell at their smart speakers? Because I feel like this is the first step in this.
I've been yelled at for yelling at Alexa before.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's genuinely going to turn into, like, you know, the question, like, if you're on a date, see how they treat the wait staff, because if they treat them poorly, they're probably disrespectful. I genuinely think that's the next iteration of this, is how much of a jerk are they to Alexa? If they're a jerk, they're probably inconsiderate.
Yeah.
Ryan, are you with me on this one or no?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's an old quote, and I'm going to mash it up, and I don't even remember who it's from because my brain doesn't work the way I want it to. It was something about you can tell, like, the honor or like, you can tell something about someone by how they treat those that can never do anything for them. And I feel like that's kind of a different form of that. Like, in your mind, okay, this is all ones and zeros. It's up to work, but it's glitching out. It's like, I mean, like, I've freaked out on phone trees before. Like, trying to call someone and just, like, yelling into the phone, you know, like, representative, just talking over, you know, just,
yeah.
I just like talking over it. But when you get into these, like, smart speakers, and when they have, like, granted, they're canned responses now, but they're canned responses that go off of stress level in your voice, how loud you're being, the words that you're saying, and then it goes down a list and it checks everything off, and then it gives a response based off a bunch, you know, like, new criteria now. And at what point does that go from it, like, just following its commands to it legit thinking and having and starting to develop its own ideas about what it's having to do? So yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that happening, Devin. I can.
So we live in a world where everyone's seeing, like, AI in use. Like, what is the most terrifying example of AI in use that you guys have seen? Because for me, it's the two AI phone agents talking to each other to book a hotel room, and then they switch to the AI speak mode where it's just beeps and boops, and then they like, you have a reservation. Like, it's like, what the hell? Like,
what did you actually talk about?
Yeah.
I remember watching a documentary on the Discovery Channel back when I was, like, I don't know, 17 or 16 years old, where they were talking about these researchers set up a bunch of computers. And this is like 2000, 2001, 2002. They set up a bunch of computers to communicate with each other. And that's just networking. You connect some Ethernet cables and they just send ones and zeros back and forth. But they programmed these computers to have to speak to each other in written out English. So they were literally, like typing back and forth to each other on the screens so the researchers could see how they were communicating. They created their own language, and the researchers didn't know what they were saying, so they pulled the plug on the whole thing. That was the first moment that I got scared about this whole thing. And of course, that's 16, 17-year-old me being, growing up on Terminator movies. But as of right now, I'd say the scariest thing that I have seen has been the newest round of deepfakes.
Okay.
I think my scariest thing was, and I do this for my job, right? I work in AI. I was on the call with somebody. It's fine. I was on the call with somebody. And they told me something that was very wrong, and they just said it, and I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize. That's not how that thing works. Let me spend some time. Let's explain what's going on here." And they go, "No, I have it right." And I go, "I'm really sorry. I can't agree with that statement." And I'm trying to be very polite. I'm customer support, right? I'm trying to be very polite, and I guess at one point I was like, and they kept pushing back. They kept saying, "No, I'm right." And I said, "How?" And they go, "Well, I'm looking at the proof right here that I'm right." I said, "What is the proof?" And he goes, "I put it into ChatGPT, and it told me." And at that moment, I went, "Oh, we might lose critical thinking skills and might just inherently trust whatever this thing is saying." Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
ChatGPT is a great tool for minuscule tasks. Like I'll use the main thing I use ChatGPT for is YouTube tags. Like if I want to go in and tag a video, like give me tags for a review on Companion for YouTube, gives me the list. And okay, separate the list by commas, and so I can copy and paste it. And that's what I use it for.
Yeah.
And there's, I think using it as a tool for like tasks like that is fantastic, and that's what it should be used for. Mm-hmm. But when you start losing those critical thinking skills, like it's not creating the podcast, it's not creating our conversation. It's a topic in our conversation, but it's not like if we did this whole podcast of AI, like it wouldn't be us.
No, there's always something off about it. There just is. Like even text that's been generated by an AI, you can tell.
And I know some of the deep fakes are scary, but some of them are just funny.
No, they are. Yeah. I mean,
like
I need a funny one.
I'll have to send you the one of there's one of Jesus talking on a podcast. And then it just cuts to show who he's talking to on the podcast. Like that is the perfect joke. I'll have to find that one. I'm not gonna avoid the punchline, but okay, and then there's like deep fakes of like podcasters on TikTok as babies, which makes a lot like Joe Rogan as a baby still sounds crazy, but it's a lot easier to swallow. But yeah, I think the deep fake thing, like if you're using it for malicious reasons, it's scary. But I also think like it's very fun to like just for entertainment purposes only. Like it's not but not for like we're gonna make a whole movie with AI. Like that's like little TikToks, yeah. But we should wrap this up here soon, guys.
Yeah.
This is a fun conversation, though. I like this.
Yeah, so, I mean, this movie brings up, just a lot of topics that need to be discussed. It has a lot to say, and unfortunately, it's probably going to fall on a lot of deaf ears for a lot of people, I feel, because they're going to see it as, oh, cool, a robot movie. Mm-hmm. And I could see some people having the wrong conversations, and yes, I am going to call them wrong over this, and that's why I didn't bring those topics up at all, because I just know.
It was in the background of what we talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, that's it for this one, and I'm gonna have another newer movie the next time my pick comes around. So, and then I'll go
very
back
cool.
to my normal '90s action movies from there.
All right. All right, Devin. Next week it is your pick. What are you gonna have us watch?
So something that I think is going to elicit an equally deep conversation from us. Something that really gets to the core of humanity and who we are as individuals. That's right. It's Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
I mean, also deals with AI.
It does also deal with AI.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Um,
But
Yeah.
a little,
Yeah. So, yeah, because the new Mission Impossible comes out next week, right?
it does, yeah.
Against Lilo and Stitch.
Well, you know what? Because of this, because Lilo and Stitch is coming out, I am, and you guys don't have to, I am going to talk a little bit about Lilo and Stitch 2. Stitch has a glitch. Listen, it's an hour, and it's going to be just as good as Mission Impossible is.
Yeah.
One of you should join me in talking about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Disney Adult Devin hasn't gotten to Disney Adult in a while on the podcast.
I haven't
so.
gotten to Disney Adult in a while. I can't
Yeah.
wait because I have serious thoughts about that movie. I really did, because you guys don't know this about me. My first ever fanfic that I've ever written was Lilo and Stitch. I made a spec script for the sequel.
Oh man, do you still have it?
Let me look. I might. It's on. I think it's on a gross jump drive somewhere in that closet.
If you do, I want to read that.
No, you don't.
I do.
Listen, if it's not there, I know what it's about, and I have a couple of scenes remembered. We'll see how much I can find.
Okay. I'll tell you what. I'll do what I did before the podcast next week. If you can get me a scene or two, we'll do that next week. Okay?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let me see what I can find.
Give me my sides ahead of time, and I will do what I did. Next week's going to be special, guys. Like,
I can't wait.
yeah.
It'll even be a special day. It'll be great.
Yes. Yeah, join us next week on Thursday evening as we talk about Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Right before the final Reckoning comes out, and Lilo and Stitch.
Why is it not Dead Reckoning Part 2?
Because they changed the title.
Hey.
But, yeah. That does it for this week's episode of You Have to Watch This podcast. Thank you to our AI overlords for providing us with this wonderful conversation. You can listen to You Have to Watch This podcast on all major podcasting platforms. We will be caught up in the next month. I promise. And then you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We can watch all of our older episodes. Follow us live on Twitch every week as well. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. And until next time for You Have to Watch This podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
And go to sleep, listeners.
I see what you did there. Every part of me, if I had more room, was just gonna drop.